picture and go to Josh Rogers for the next question.
Mr. Smith, which nation do you consider to be America's most significant foreign policy foe?
Which nation? Well, you know, as long as nations are hiding terrorists or harboring terrorists, such as Syria is, and other nations in the region, even Iraq, if they're harboring terrorists, then they clearly would be certainly significant enemies. I think we have to be very cautious about Russia, what is happening now. I don't view them as an enemy per se at this point, but they're getting close. Putin is being allowed to do pretty much everything he wants. He's got a weak president of the United States, and he knows it, and he's pushing as hard as he can. But clearly, I would say nations that harbor terrorists and help them, such as Syria, would be the number one enemy in my view.
Mr. Brown, what do you think?
Unfortunately, we have a larger list than we used to. I think Governor Romney was right when he said Russia is our biggest geopolitical threat. I believe that. I think it's true. We've seen it with what's happening in Crimea and Ukraine and what's still happening as of today. Iran. I don't trust Iran. I've filed and voted for sanctions dealing with Iran. The fact that we've given them even another chance and allowed them to enrich uranium right now during the supposed negotiation and treaty period, I think is wrong. Israel, our greatest ally in that region, is in grave danger. North Korea, we know what's happening there as well. And now we have, is ISIS now a country? They've issued a caliphate. They have control. They're issuing laws. They're running a pseudo-government. I believe that's the #1 issue right now, that we need to immediately go after the command and control structure. We need to eliminate their supply lines, go to their strategic resources, and eliminate them. Work with our Arab League partners and our European allies to make sure that that's done immediately.
Mr. Rubens?
This is going to be unusual, but I think China is our most significant foreign threat in 3 ways. Number one, they're acting around the Spratly Islands right now, attempting to obtain oil in the South China Sea, attempting to expand their shipping and military lanes. They are ahead of us in cyber warfare right now, and they're ahead of us, and they're crippling our economy with industrial espionage. An economy like ours, we cannot be a strong military power unless we're a strong economic power, and this country knows this. A close second on this, also unusual, I'd label Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, according to a leaked memo written by then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, turns out to be the largest single funder of jihadists and ISIS. So Saudi Arabia, we have an extremely mixed, complicated relationship with that country, and we do need to engage with them, and we need to demand that they cease funding global terror. That is the problem. That is one of the problems of global terror. It cannot exist without money.
So what do you propose in regards to China, Mr. Brown?
Well, I disagree with Jim. I think China's in a catch-22 situation. They have $1.4 trillion of our debt. We're one of their greatest trading partners, and we trade with them, obviously vice versa. To get into a war with them, whether it's a cyber war or other wars, is problematic for them as well. Yes, we have cyber wars. We're involved in cyber attacks as well. You know, they play that game. I've been to Japan. I've been to Taiwan. I've seen the incursions. They're changing the rules of airspace rules, the rules of the sea, the law of the sea. They're doing a whole host of these things, poking and prodding at their neighbors. Yes, in the background they're percolating, but with all due respect, right now we have a very real situation where people are being killed. We have a direct threat on our national security. We have North Korea. We have we have Iran, who are affecting our allies. I'm sorry, Josh, I went over a little bit. I didn't see this.
We'll give everybody an opportunity to weigh in. Mr. Smith.
Well, I think the difficulty with the question, Josh, is that you said which country, and that's, you know, we all kind of expanded. I certainly don't disagree that the countries that have been mentioned here are all threats, and I believe that China is a significant threat. It was a threat when I was there 12 years ago when I saw the intelligence, in the sense that they have the capacity and are working hard to do it. They steal our secrets, they buy our secrets, they're up in space, they have the opportunity to knock out our satellites. They're going to be a very serious threat. We won't be able to conduct any kind of asymmetric warfare at all if China continues to build up the capacity to cripple and or incapacitate our satellites.
Mr. Rubens, last word on this, and we're going to move on.
the major threat. I'll add Iran to this. Iran, we loosened the sanctions on Iran. President Obama, they were working. It was one of the military strategies that we can use short of war. I'm leery about committing America to another war in the Middle East. I know there's a major drumbeat right now. Bomb, bomb, bomb. There is no strategy behind this. As I said, we barely know who our friends and enemies are. We need to engage regional powers, and it was working with respect to Iran. We were causing them to dial back production of this nuclear. When we took away the sanctions, they continued to research the implosion technology, the delivery technology, and enrichment. So again, let's use techniques other than committing America to war in the Middle East that work. Engage regional powers.
All right, we're going to